Welcome everyone to Therapeutic Astrology Podcast. I am so pleased today to be with seasoned astrologer and author of Inside the Cosmic Mind, Archetypal Astrology and the New Cosmology from 2014. Welcome, Phoebe Wyss.
Thank you.
So I was so happy to read your book, and I really recommend it as a foundational book in astrology to read. There's a lot in there, and I thought maybe we could start to speak about what you discovered. If you remember some of that process, it's a while ago, but the process of figuring out how we see the world and how astrology fits into the more into the postmodern science.
Well, my quest after having learned astrology, I was an astrologer in Germany then, so I learned astrology in German, and after learning it, and I learned it for I always emphasize this to people who want to become astrologers, earn money through becoming astrologers, that I spent actually from the time I discovered it, my first astrology book, to the time I gave my first session was nearly 5 years. And I would recommend anybody, because it is a big responsibility, as an astrologer, people are very vulnerable, and they get an idea in their mind that is of what's happening in the future, and it's something bad. Then they that is psychologically not good. So so I my quest very soon was why does this work? Why, and what is the mechanism for why this works?
Yeah.
And I had to. I've got a degree in philosophy, for example, and um, I began to approach it with my mind like a philosopher.
Mm. Yeah.
But I soon realized that when I started giving sessions, that I was not working from that side of my mind. I was working from my intuition
Mm.
more. And the more that I became experienced, the more strongly that intuition was there. I was feeling it rather than thinking about it. And I realized that this is a key question. And it has to do with something much wider than astrology. It has to do with cosmology.
Mm.
And I mean, just to sum up, it works because it fits with the laws of the universe. And these laws of the universe are not made by us. So
Mm.
that's what I mean by cosmology.
Yeah, okay. So that's maybe also what you mean with the postmodern science, that now astrology can have its place because we view the whole universe differently than before.
We do. And so a change, and it really only started at the beginning of the 20th century with some people. That's when Jung, for example, the psychologist, and lived and was looking inside people, and the physicists were looking outside into what is matter, what is it.
Mm.
And they got smaller and smaller with their microscopes. So it's not atoms. We were told that nature is made of atoms, and atoms are something solid. When in the 1950s, when I was at school.
Yeah.
But then in later on in the 1970s, 80s, um, you get they are going further and further into matter, and they find that the solid matter consists of particles which are so small that you can't measure them. It gets smaller and smaller, the particles, but they're there. And
Uh,
the vegetative matter the is consists of um, of tiny organisms. They're very, very small and you can't see them, and then smaller and smaller, and then they are just energies, energies within the matter, and they are organized in different ways to produce different um, animals, plants, trees, for example, and our
Mhm.
bodies. So smaller and smaller in physics, and bigger in cosmology, in the understanding of what we are
Mm.
and where we are. And last question, why?
Yeah. Yeah. What would it say about why we are here?
Oh, well, everybody has to find that out for themselves.
I couldn't
Because
resist.
everybody's an individual and in the end has his own path.
Yeah. Yeah. And so did you settle into that quest when you were on that quest? Did you settle into, okay, I cannot prove it in a very mechanistic way,
Yes.
and then rely more on, because you also mentioned the phenomenon of synchronicity, and
Yes.
that's what you talked about with the right brain as well. So it's more that side of,
Well, that comes much later, really, the discovery of the importance of the experience of synchronicity. But first of all, I came back from Germany. I have to give you a little life background. I,
yeah.
I came back from Germany in 1997, and I divorced from my first husband, who's the father of my children, and they were grown up enough to be independent. And then I thought I'd go back to my roots. So I came back here to southern England, where I'd grown up. I'm not very far from where I was born here, down in Brighton.
Mhm.
And I got a flat here. And I met another man after a few years who then wanted to marry me, and I married again. And this is Sun and Venus and Mercury in the seventh house.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Anyway, he was a scientist, and but he was very interested in the philosophy of science. And he introduced me to a group called the Scientific and Medical Network, which is can be it's on the internet. It's got bigger and bigger since that time in the 1990s. A lot of people now belong to it. Also, it's also on Zoom and things, and it is all about the science of our what we experience in life. But it's in that wider context that we that the atomic physicists are now on,
Mhm.
whereby everything is finally energy. Everything in the universe is energy. It's not even a particle. It's not even a molecule. It's a current of energy, and this energy can be of different qualities and kinds. But basically, it is the life force. You can call it the life force, and this animates everything, and it's much wider than, of course, than our planet and then our solar system, our galaxy. Is much wider than that. So everything's become very big.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's life force.
The
And
life
then
force, yeah.
that, what does that mean in terms of synchronicity?
Yes, yes. Well, time and space are what we experience normally here during our lives on this planet.
Mhm.
And we believe in the reality of time and space. But um, time and space are dependent on our organs of perception, our five senses, which are very limited. Even dogs can smell better. Even squirrels in the trees can run faster. Our physical possibilities are very limited, and we
Mhm.
had the arrogance to believe that was it. We were the highest species, for example, and we were the most advanced, and what how we saw the world was right. And that has been disproved. And it has been discovered that there are lots of dimensions that our physical senses cannot enter or understand.
That it is so important to remember that.
Yes, yes. And so in the dimensions, time is experienced differently. For example, um, butterflies,
Yeah.
bees, insects, they experience time passing much, much, much quicker than we do. And they move faster. And birds as well. They're so quick in their movement, sometimes they just disappear before you can look at them, especially the little ones in the leaves, you know. And and then they have different perceptions of sound, the birds. So the sounds that they hear are much richer and more diverse than the sounds that we can hear. So the main point is that we're not the measure of creation with what we can with our faculties. And in other states of consciousness, for example, in the dream state, most people dream every night, whether they can remember or not. We are in another state of consciousness, and time plays funny tricks, and so does space, doesn't it? You're in one place, and all of a sudden you're in another place, like
It's
Alice
so
in
weird.
Wonderland.
It's so weird to dream. Really, like when I need a proof because I'm just trusting my limited perception sometimes, then I'll just go to my dreams because that is like proof that something else is going on.
Yeah. Well, it is, they're very often a key to what's bothering you, for example, or what's worrying you, or things like that. But sometimes they give you a nudge, um, and then something like a synchronicity happens. This husband I told you, my second husband,
Yeah.
he died in 2022,
Oh,
and I had amazing experiences of synchronicity just before he died. And it looked to me as if everything was giving me a sign that something was going to happen like that. I,
you got a forewarning?
yes, I won't go into that because I have articles on these things and I can
Okay.
give you a list of articles afterwards. But I
Okay.
had definite forewarnings, very definite. And in fact, so definite that I didn't say anything to anyone, you can't, certainly not to him. But he died suddenly of a stroke. It was not, it was not expected.
Mhm.
Mm. But I knew because of synchronicities.
So you kind of expected it in at some level.
I realized that something was going to happen
Yeah.
and that it was something really unusual. And it felt very much like warnings to me.
Mm. Do you think, Phoebe, that that happened because you were inside the cosmic mind, because you were so like enmeshed and
No, I don't.
um,
I
no?
don't. We are all. This is the final point. We are all in the cosmic mind.
Ah,
We all are. And everybody is linked with everybody else in a kind of oneness,
yeah.
which is a very important thing to remember today, where everybody is so divided and fighting opposites, and because that is always the wrong way to go, you know.
Mhm.
Cooperation is what being inside the cosmic mind, linked to everybody else. That's
Mm.
the conclusion.
Mm.
That's the way to happiness. Anyway, that's another whole big subject. But synchronicities, um, I became aware of them actually when I lived in Germany. I published the first astrology game ever to be published. And
Okay.
I don't know whether you could see this here,
Wow, I can
but
see it.
this is the board for it. And if you speak German, you can see it's called Lebensrad.
I, I'm afraid I don't. They tried in
But
school,
it's
but
wheel of life, wheel of life.
Wheel of Life. Yes, great. Wheel of Life. And it's a whole wheel. Did you make it yourself with
I,
your
I,
bare
I,
hands?
no, no, I
Oh,
designed it, but then it was published. So this is the board from the game. And when I published this game in the mid 1980s, about the time you were born, then the publisher, he wasn't a big publisher because this was not, the masses were not into astrology. He was
Mm.
more like a sort of a hobby publisher, you know, who there was a conference every year in Germany, in Essen, where you could have a stall and promote what you were publishing. And he had a stall, and I was at the stall, and the game actually is built on synchronicity, and it is, and I marketed it at these conferences by inviting visitors who were looking at the stalls to sit down and try out if synchronicity works. And so they would sit down and they would roll a dice,
Yeah.
and then there would be, you would move around the board and this would happen, and then you would be asked a question, and very often, or you ask a question, I forgot which way it is now. um, Very often the answer, the people who played it confirmed. They said, "That's amazing. I was just worrying about that, or I was just thinking about that when I was walking round." And here it comes up when there are over 100 different possibilities of answers. So I thought that this has definitely something to do with why astrology works.
Absolutely. And it's
Yes,
perplexing to our more skeptical, analytical mind. It's perplexing, like, how can that be?
yes,
But then there's the proof.
yes, that's right. So I thought to myself, right, I'm going to research this. And I researched it with this game, and then I created some more games. One more was published. I'm afraid you can't get them anymore because, I mean, board games have gone totally out of fashion. Everybody's playing games on their phones, aren't they? Even with other people on their phones, the personal contact is not there. It's not. It's very sad.
True.
It was enough experience for me, and I created in the end a book that you could play. Was that could have, it's in manuscript. It still hasn't been published online. I've got a publisher who says he's going to do it, but he never does. It's always the economic situation.
Okay.
So I'm waiting
Interesting.
for that. But that's something else I've done, and they've been linked together, astrology and these games, because they were
Mm.
self-discovery games. So basically, I was advertising also astrology for self-discovery, not for foretelling the future in any way. I was never interested in that. I was worried that people would do that, you know. And the kind of astrology I teach now is experiential.
Mhm.
So that the aim is to find out about astrology, but also to find out about yourself, the people who come to my group and who take it. Is
Absolutely. I think that's how
yeah.
often that's how the journey begins with astrology, because you have questions around your own life and
Yes, yes.
your own patterns. And actually that leads me to the second topic that I'd like to think about, reflect about with you, archetypes.
Archetypes, yes.
Archetypes. And also you also have, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but netters,
Meters, yeah.
meters.
I can tell you all about that.
Yes, please do.
And and actually, the best thing is to start on this board because you see, it's a circle within a square. The board is square,
Yeah.
and inside we have a circle. I'll come back to the other question you wanted to ask me about square horoscopes and
Hmm.
circular horoscopes afterwards.
Hmm.
And I designed the board so that there would be two circles that turn. And if what is this on the east for you now? This side of the board, I can't work it out. Or is it that side?
Yeah, that's on the left side.
This this is on the in the east. So if I put Aries there, and what Aries, I say Aries is the first sign of the zodiac here.
Yeah.
So we'll put it as an ascendant, for example, there. Okay. So that would be somebody who had first 1 degree of Aries rising
Hmm.
over there. And um, and then the colors didn't come out so well with the printer. I wanted this to be more of a really fiery red. It looks more orange here, but we have to make a difference. And and then green for so red for the red, purple, and sort of a really orangey for the Leo for fire, and then green for the earth. So that the colors are very important because they have a vibe, and that can be felt without you knowing something. So that's Virgo. So that's a different vibe. And then Capricorn goes more into browny red, but it's come out brown here. They were for the earth signs, and for air, some yellow. So we have there Gemini. That shouldn't be yellow. That then we have Libra. Actually, that's blue because that's the Venus color. And then
Uh-huh.
we have a dark blue here for Aquarius.
Mm.
So that's the vibe of air,
Yeah.
and people who are learning or having their horoscope read, I use this board and they understand a little more deeply, not just through the mind, through feeling the energies of these different colors. And then you asked what archetypes were. These are the 12 basic forms of energy. So the sun, let's say that they're in the middle, is one. And when it starts shining and the light spreads out, it gets distinguished between 12 different forms of energy, whereas everything at the center is one. And so these 12 forms of energy um, are in everybody's chart. They are I do work first of all just with these forms of energy and don't bring in planets. Planets are a more advanced level of astrology. But by putting then the planets in their signs then in a chart, you can see which energies come to the fore or are in the foreground in this life, because we'll come to past lives as well if you like, because what I see the birth chart as the end, the situation in that soul at the end of the last life and not the
Yeah.
beginning of this life. So it's not a new sort of set of cards now we got to play with, but there's a reason why we have that set of cards. And I like that because it gives you responsibility for your chart in the way you've lived in past lives. Otherwise, it's very unfair, isn't it? Some people have much easier charts than others.
Yeah, it is unfair anyway. Oh, thank you for all of that. That's really great. So in the center you have the sun,
Yeah,
and from that center it shines out through these 12 forms
of energy. That's
of
right. Like
energy.
12 different sort of panes of glass, and it shines through it, and they have a specific vibe. Then you can only. It's probably better to use vibes than forms because
Ah, okay.
forms sounds more visual.
Different vibe. Yeah, and it makes sense with the colors as well.
Yes,
Like beginners in astrology, a lot of people who just know a little bit about astrology, they'll sometimes show me their chart and they'll say, "Oh, I have so many lines, the lines between aspects." And I
yes,
think and it's something quite common. I think it's because it's colored and it resonates, and
yes,
you can kind of pick up on the energy of that.
yes. That's
Yeah.
right. So when you've put the planets in somebody's chart, then you'll see which of the 12. So these 12 forms of energy are 12 archetypes. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you've got the planets in the chart, you'll see that some people have a, a spread out planets and others sort of some bunched together and others spread out, all by themselves somewhere else. And very unusual. And at the moment, the baby is being born at the moment, everything bunched together in Pisces and then in Aries and now going into Taurus and Gemini, but all in one corner, more or less, of a chart. And
Yeah.
it's golly, these babies being born now.
It's always been fun to think about that, but in some way, we humans, we find a way, right, to deal with the chat uh, that we're given. So, but okay, so I have so many questions for you. Nitas, is that the same or is that slightly
Yeah.
different?
It's the same as archetypes.
Okay.
And this is the Egyptian word for 12 gods and goddesses who were the basic cosmic forces. So they are, um, they are beings, but they are in the sense that they're alive as cosmic forces. But of course, the Egyptians personified them, with different faces and forms, and they were worshipped and things like that. They were gods and goddesses,
Mhm.
and that brings in actually the holy, that the feeling of awe and holiness. So I like it. I like it. But and I mean, Egyptian astrology is quite another. It's not for another day, but
Yeah.
but I got very keen on that, on the origins of astrology, Neolithic astrology,
Mm.
and Egyptian astrology. It's not true, as you read in some books, that astrology was invented more or less in the Middle Ages, and it's much, much older.
It goes way back. And it
Goes
had,
back.
according to your book, it was also like you had a very important role as an astrologer.
Yes. Well, you had an important role. First of all, in Babylon, for example, they had the towers, and the astrologers would sit on the towers all night measuring. And what were they measuring? The sky, and they were measuring the angles. So, like that, they worked out from the place where they were, which they knew, they could work out when the, well, first of all, they worked out the diurnal cycle when the sun would rise.
Mm.
They could tell the time by it, by measuring the sky, because they knew that at that date they were creating the first calendar. The sun would rise there on the horizon, then it would rise there, and then it would rise there in summer, and then and
Mm.
so for their locality, they had a calendar, but they also found had experienced vaster um, vaster cycles of time. Cycles of time like the precessional cycle, and the time cycles that are measured in. Um, yes, it is Egyptian and Indian astrology. The yugas, they're called in Indian astrology, that cover thousands of years, and it gives us a feeling of our world, our planet, is very small, and
Mm.
and all around us is this large space, and
Mm.
there are not only other solar systems, but we know now this now through astronomy, but of course many centuries ago they just knew it from this handed down knowledge, that
Mm.
there are great cycles of time, and that our yes, our life is just one little life within very small,
Mm.
tiny pinch of time.
Mm. Mm. Inside the cosmic mind, I feel it's such a good title. What we're talking about
Yeah,
the grand picture, and then us here going through like finding our purpose, and that being really grand as well in its own sense.
yeah,
Okay, so before I go to the last topic, I just had a few threads there because you mentioned that you might want to come back to the horoscope being square and
yes,
and
yeah,
round.
yes. Um, so one other thing I studied, although I hated mathematics, it was not my subject. Most Pisces don't
We
like
don't. We
maths.
really don't.
It's a waste of time, I felt. But I did study sacred geometry because sacred geometry is
Yeah.
symbolic. And if you imagine, um, yes, you can take the human body because sacred geometry pattern comes in everything practically that's created. So in your body, I mean, I'm sitting up straight, so I've got a line, a vertical line going through me
Mhm.
from below my feet. You can imagine the line coming right up and then above your head.
Mhm.
And so there is that vertical line as a main line. And then you've got the west, east and the west, a horizon line as well. And the horizon line of your width makes a right angle to your vertical line
Yeah.
of your length.
Mhm.
And this is the shape, was in Leonardo da Vinci's sort of uh, illustration of a human being with this geometry inside him. He was into that as well. Um, that is the basic shape, and out of it, there's two squares on the top above the horizon, and two squares below the horizon. So you can leave these squares in as yeah. If you think of the vertical line as joining the north and south, and the horizontal line as marking your east and west. You're standing in space like that. Space is there. And time is there when, like the Babylonian astrologers, you're looking at the different degrees in each of these quarters. And in the calendar, there are also quarter days, May the 4th, that's just 2 days' time. No wonder. No. Anyway, it is today.
That's today. Yeah, I thought you were talking about today. Yeah, that's today.
I'm so bad with dates at the moment. And time doesn't seem to exist for me, but anymore. But okay, we're on a quarter day, isn't that synchronicity?
Yes.
And on the quarter days, it's like a clock. It's halfway between um, the horizon when it's spring and the midday point, which is the top, the vertical. It's halfway between there.
Yeah, okay.
So you've got, um, you can see it as a circle with a square in, which is like the horoscope, because
That's
these,
that's how it is now, right?
or we
That's
can look at it as a square with a
mm,
circle in.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the subject of the squared circle is very important in in sacred geometry, and it appears in very ancient rock carvings
Okay.
in places actually all over the world. Rock carvings that were done many thousands of years ago, and
Mm.
they were obviously these they had a symbolic significance for the this geometry on the rock carvings. So that's the link between the square and the circle.
That's amazing. I mean, I wish I had gotten to know math through something exciting like this. The sacredness
Me
of it.
too.
Yeah. But okay. Okay, so I'm aware of time, so I want to move on to my third, and that's just probably just going to be the last topic. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about your own astrology. So the last topic here. Oh, now I have to make choices, Phoebe. Which topic do I choose? There's so much in your wonderful book. Um, yeah, I think I do want to ask you about spiritual development and
Yes,
growth of consciousness. Isn't that important?
yes.
Because you say that's actually what astrology is for.
Well, that's what my astrology is for. Um, Definitely. I am, I mean, this is also answering the next one very briefly in order to explain what that means for me. And
Yeah.
that is that I have a course at home at the moment. I don't think I would be going anywhere anymore. I used to travel around and give lectures and things like that. And then that's a long time ago. I can't really travel, and I am not. I haven't got the energy. To stand up even in my local astrology circle group. We have one here in Brighton and Hove, and we have events. And I used to run that group, and I used to put on events and take part in them as as an organizer. I've
Wow.
passed that all on to younger people now. They
Yeah.
also have to have a chance. Your
Yeah.
generation, for example.
You passed it on. Good. Good for you
So,
and good for them.
but what I do, because I enjoy it and because I still feel like I can give a lot, is I have people coming here to my house. I have a nice big room here. I have
Good.
um, I have room for, well, actually, it could be even a circle of 8 people, sitting round. And I've got the other half of this room here free, where this group takes place. So they come twice a month on a Saturday afternoon, and we do experiential astrology.
Ah,
And
wonderful.
this experiential astrology is sometimes other people want to join the group, sometimes people leave, and I say to newcomers, it is we investigate charts. People can come with their charts to investigate into the group and to lay them, have a big circle on the floor, and they can stand or sit in the circle on the floor to feel the energies. I have the names of the names of the signs all the way around. These were
Yeah.
all made many years ago when I'd started working like this, and I said, but it is don't just bring other people's charts, please. Bring a chart that has personal significance for you,
Mm.
and this personal significance will be definitely a way for you to grow then during the session to develop because it could be a synastry chart. You could be actually looking at a relationship, and that might help to clarify
Mm.
problems in a relationship. But then you have to remember that everything is one. So the other person is not, something different and something that, you have to somehow accommodate or fight. It's part of you. So while you're looking at another person's chart, especially somebody who you find difficult, it's important to remember, oh, that's a side of me that I'm not owning.
Yeah.
That's the personal development, um, the self-discovery. I like that expression. We're doing self-discovery also through doing other charts. But we wouldn't do the chart of a famous person or things like that. That often happens a lot on the internet. Mm.
No, that's good. That sounds like a unique chance to work on something that personally matters to you.
Yes,
Whereas sometimes in public, we do use like famous people because then everyone will like know who it is.
yes,
But
that's right as well.
but
But
when you have an intimate situation like that, teaching situation, then it's perfect to just bring the
yeah,
chat that.
it works very well. And we've had a lot of very sessions that have gone very deep with people, and they've been very moved. And
Yeah.
there's a kind of trust in the group that we don't talk about, of course, anything outside the group. So people are safe and they can sort of open up and talk about things that they we don't talk about with anybody else.
That is so important. I'm glad you bring trust up. I mean, I did a workshop in therapeutic astrology once, and I was really dealing with that like for astrologers, and like they are so used to it being quite mental, and
Mhm.
so afterwards I reflected on, okay, what could have gone better?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a long list, but just one key component, I was like, that is the trust, because that's what we have or we need to build in the therapeutic realm.
Mm.
And if it's not there, then it's more on a mental level, right? Just like seeing all the different, like if in synastry, you would maybe see why is here a match and why not. But
Mm.
then there's a deeper process that I'm hearing you speak about.
Mm. That's right. Yeah. So when somebody comes into the group for the first time, for example,
Yeah.
um, then uh, they they sit down in different places in their chart. They can go and sit by their ascendant, and they can feel the energy of their ascendant. And
Mm.
first of all, it's like a meditation and closing your eyes and feeling the energy.
Mhm.
And if you're going to feel, an Aries ascendant, it's going to be difficult to sit still. And if it's a Capricorn ascendant, you're going to sit there quite stiffly, and then you realize your body's taken that energy. And this is my Capricorn side. You can say to yourself, I'm a bit stiff and upright,
Mm. Mm.
and I want to get it done. I want to get the work done, that sort of thing.
Wonderful. So it's like the vibration you're speaking about is coming
Yes,
through
and
you
they
like
can
that.
speak from that place in their chart. They can become, their Saturn, for example.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah.
With closed eyes, especially, they can go inside themselves and find, and then give examples of when they're in their Saturn side, or when they're inside of their Mars or one of the other planets. So that's the experiential astrology. It tries to get as far away as possible because deeper is truer than mental formulas. You know, when when people learn astrology in the past, and probably still today, you're taught formulas for the different planets and the different aspects. And that is actually, you have to learn them by heart. Okay, perhaps to a certain extent, you need something like that as a basis. At least you have, the energies and what they're called, and which um, which vibe they have from
Yeah.
the modes and from the different uh, uh, fire, air, water, the different words gone. Now I'm getting
The elements.
elements.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, I mean, so it's the integration that we're really talking about here. And you also are a proponent for that in your book, where you have the keywords in different bubbles, but then you say like try just to take it in or relax.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the formulation, but that's the idea that you kind of tune out and then absorb it in a different way.
Yes, that's right. Well, I was a pioneer in lots of ways. I learned from different other people, different things, of course, and put it together. But I was a pioneer, and I still am very much in a minority in the astrology world. There's a lot of very good astrologers, but they are mental astrologers. They are astrologers who know their stuff very well, for example.
Well, that's why I'm so glad to speak to you on Therapeutic Astrology Podcast. Like this is so what I want to bring out more, and there are different creative ways of doing it.
Yes.
Um, but you say you've always been a pioneer. Is it because that you immediately connected it to psychology, having learned about Jung and
Um, well, that came actually through, yeah, through my curiosity. I have a big curiosity, and I have to know what the background is of something which I'm experiencing. And I had to know about Jung. I have not read his books. I wouldn't pretend to, but I know his main theories. Through
yeah,
um, the people who have written about his book,
yeah,
and I know his main theories. And he is somebody who is behind this experiential astrology, basically. Um, and but otherwise, I came in touch with the science and the cosmology. I mean, I would never have studied physics when I was at school because of the maths,
Yeah.
And I thought I couldn't understand it. And when I met my second husband, and I went along to meetings about this stuff, about physics and the cosmology with the world as just things as particles and particle physics and time and space and all that lot. I was actually very hungry to learn all about it, and I found that I could make sense of it, not in a mathematician's way, not understanding why it was like that, but at least I could understand its effect on
Mhm.
the way we experience things, and the
Mhm.
difference between the truth, which at the beginning of this interview we were talking about, how everything really is and how it seems to us, with our limited view of things. So
Yeah,
that's how it came about.
that is so important. Okay, so if we just take a few minutes to talk about your astrology,
Well,
is that
that was all about it, actually.
your astrology, your chart? I mean,
Oh, my
yeah,
chart.
your chart. Yeah, your chart. Yeah, this whole thing has been about astrology.
Yes, yeah,
But is it okay to speak about your chart a little bit?
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm really curious how it's been for you to have had that Uranus return.
Yeah, I've still got it,
Um,
more or less.
More or less. I mean, it just moved into Gemini and you have it in Taurus, right?
Yeah, it's been there for ages anyway.
It
Yeah.
must have been. Yeah.
But you see, that's not alone. I have a Pluto half return. I have a Neptune half return.
Nothing is ever
I've
alone,
had
right?
I've had for I've had for seeming ages Saturn on my sun. It's been a very hard time.
It's nothing is ever alone, apropos. It's
I've gone through the hardest time of my life, but
okay.
maybe the trans is coming to an end now, and because that they should all come at once. The return of Uranus together with these half returns. Well, it was the Uranus conjunct my moon right from the beginning was made me rebellious already as a teenager, against my poor mother, for example, how she expected me to live like she did.
Oh.
My father expected me to go into a job in the civil service like he had and stay there all my life like he did. That's the Taurus side, though, that I had those
Mm.
parents. But I, of course, broke out. And then I married this foreigner and I went to live in Germany. And poor mother, she suffered. I feel sorry for her now to lose her daughter so much, for so many years. But then I was rebellious there against things, and rebellious against religion I was brought up in, and so I have been a rebel, but I've always tried very hard not to hurt other people, not to harm other people. I do regret I did hurt my mother, but that was inevitable by leaving the country.
Yeah.
But in relationships, for example, I was very careful not to be the one who left anybody because I couldn't bear to hurt them.
Mm.
So I wasn't one of these Uranus that doesn't care. No, I'm afraid a lot of them, haven't got too much empathy. I have a lot of empathy in the other side of me with the Pisces, and that,
Yeah, I was just thinking that's
yeah,
probably your Pisces.
yes, it's the Pisces side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but I feel like that Uranus and Taurus and and even also the Pisces in the second house, you could say that there is this blend of the higher mind, the mind that's connected to everything, and then the
yeah,
body and the practical side of things.
yes,
I mean, and so I kind of understand that to be also why you were even on that quest to
yeah,
to think about the things that you did. And
yes. I've been brave as well. Um, that my Mars actually has worked very well in Capricorn. It is exalted there, and it has made me very sensible, making good at making decisions and sticking to them. And it has a nice trine and a nice sextile to up at the top and then to the seventh house. So it was, and I can have the capacity to work very hard,
mm,
hard work. and
Mm.
to stay at something, a job till I finish. Um,
Okay.
so that all helped in my life. And
Mm.
there's a lot of things, as long as I was got an enthusiasm, a new enthusiasm for them that I could have done. But I think I chose the right thing for me with to become an astrologer.
Mm.
And I was able to give the best of my talents that way with my intuition and um, yeah, my ability to reach other people and to speak to them and get on with them so I could help them so at the same time. So that
Exactly. That's that whole
yeah.
communal aspect as well. But did it liberate you more going through that Uranus return? It's supposed to, isn't it?
Yes, yes. I think I'm certainly liberated from I mean, at 85, you think actually I could die at any point. And actually, I used to think when I was younger that would be a nice time to go because otherwise life is not really worth living for people over 85. Not,
Did you think the number 85?
no, I thought of 84 because that was
Oh,
7 times 12.
okay. Okay.
But no, it's just, I think the difference is I don't want to be in control necessarily of my life anymore. And I just trust Uranus and my planets, and the things that are going to happen are going to happen. And I just try to live in the moment. When it's lovely weather, sun's out here, for example, at the moment. Summer is coming, spring. I love the birds. I watch the birds a lot, and
Mm.
and I'm not so ambitious. I have been ambitious during my life. There's
Mhm.
nothing more I really want to achieve. So
That
that's the
sounds
change, actually, I think.
that sounds really wonderful for the nervous system in a way.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be in control anymore, and that's like also the high wish of Pisces. Just live your life in a way,
That's
and
right.
and
Oh,
you have done it, Phoebe. Also, like you've done it. So
yes, I have. Float with the stream, just
mm,
let go, float with the stream,
yeah,
be in meditation, just let it carry you where it will. I mean, when you've got to earn your living, you can't live like that, that's clear. But perhaps, in the last quarter of your life, you can, if
yeah.
things work out.
Yeah, I'm so glad for your wisdom in your book, and here I'm amazed by it, and it's yeah. So what an honor, honestly, to
Thank you.
what?
Thank you for inviting me. I can see that as an honor as well, of course, because there's a lot of other people you can invite.
I like that you're laughing at me when I call it an honor. That's the Piscean humility, but it really is like had this. Yeah, you've done so much in astrology and so much you've passed on, and that's just as a seeker myself that feels so tinkling and wonderful to be around.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's astrology is good heavens. If you have astrology, you've got a gold nugget in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah, don't we? That is. Thank you so much, Phoebe Weiss.
Yes.
I'm putting a link to people for your book, and
Yeah.
thank you so much for now.